It's games for the galaxy. Hello and welcome to Games for the Galaxy. I'm Ross Tweets Games and I love video games. Each episode I'll be bringing on a special guest and dropping the absolute bombshell to them that aliens exist. They're going to have to answer a series of questions all about the games that hold a special place in their hearts to help convince our galactic friends that video games are bloody brilliant. If you've not done so already, maybe considering following the podcast on whichever platform you're listening to, give it a 5-star review, if you think it deserves it, of course, and leave a little comment. I love reading them. It makes my day. It makes me happy. You want to make me happy, right? Leave a comment. That'd be nice. Also, you can follow me on Blue Sky at ross.tweets.games and on Twitter at rosstweetsgames. I'm there. I'm tweeting games. Today's special guest is AndresPlays. If you don't know Andres, he does a wealth of things from streaming to writing, and even has his own podcast, which we talk about during this episode. He's a top guy, and I hope you enjoy getting to know him a bit more in today's episode. So let's meet AndresPlays and start episode 8 of Games for the Galaxy. Hi, and welcome to Games for the Galaxy. I'm your host, Ross Tweets Games, and today I'm joined by a streamer, a podcaster, a content creator, a writer, and a reviewer. There's pretty much nothing he doesn't do. It's AndresPlays! Yay!
Hello!
Hey, Andres, how are you?
Beautiful.
Are you good?
I'm good. I'm doing great, actually. This is the first time, not the first time I've been invited to a podcast, but the first time I've been introduced in such a lovely way. Thank you so much for that.
Well, no, it's
it feels nice.
Every single thing is true. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else that you do that I'm not aware of?
I think I actually go, yeah, I do those things. Yeah. I was a DJ too, but that was a past life.
Add the DJ in. Well, let's do the intro again. No, we won't. But just add DJ in there in your brains.
All right.
Andres, thank you so much for joining. But anyone that doesn't know you, just give us a little short overview of yourself and the things that you do.
Of course. Well, yes, just as you said, my pseudonym, my name is AndresPlays. I am a video games writer. I started streaming in 2025 and creating content on YouTube. I had done this before, but for other channels. So now I'm doing it, for my own channel. And yeah, it's been going well. I love writing about video games. I write about all types of games, AAA, indie, VR games as well. So it's so much fun to connect with, fellow gamers, to connect with like developers and publishers and whatnot. When I got on Twitter, I never thought, 4 years ago, I never thought I'd be here right now. So yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah. I think similar journey, joining Twitter and becoming part of that community, it does open doors that you never thought was possible. So that's great to hear that. So just going back, let's go straight to the beginning. What was the first thing that you did? So was it writing? Was it reviewing? You've only just started streaming. So what was the first thing that you sort of started to do?
Yeah, you said the beginning, right? So let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And what you just said, to not forget, it's very beautiful, this community that we've created. I really love what you're doing with the podcast and everything. So what happened is that in 2020, I got my PS5 and, I wanted to share my excitement with the new console. And, for about 1.5 years, I only had 40 followers. And I would, I do exactly the same thing that I do now on Blue Sky, which is just post, my thoughts on games, screenshots, and, reply and talk with other people about, our favorite games. And I remember one of my first tweets that went viral, well, somewhat viral, like 100 likes. But that's big for someone with a small account. It was Edith Finch. I remember. That's a fantastic game. I wrote a little review about that, and then somebody reached out to me at the beginning of 2023 to write for this outlet called Games Creed, and I my first review, funnily enough, was Metroid Prime Remastered.
Okay,
I
yeah, yeah.
love. I had a GameCube, so of course I had some love for that. And Nintendo, as Nintendo is, they just shadow dropped it, and I just bought it because I had been waiting for ages, right, for them to like make it available on modern consoles. So yeah, that was my first review, and then I just kicked off. I started like I've always been a writer. My dad is a journalist, but like a political journalist, right? So I dabbled in it. He has a newspaper, so I've written stuff, essays, but I love video games. So I said, now that I've been given this entry into the space, well, why not, stick with it? And I think the rest is history.
Yeah, amazing. So yeah, I think I was looking. You've reviewed over 60 games now, haven't you?
I think about 17 now.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, yeah, what's just off the top of your head? What are a few highlights in terms of reviewing? Like, have you got like one that you were like, "This is awesome that I get to review this before it's released," or anything like that?
Right. Well, recently, there was a game called Arcane Age. It's for PSVR 2. It's pretty amazing. It's one of those games that are not like a port, that they're like made for the ground up for VR. And like they gave the code to me like a month early. And I was like so excited because usually they give you like 2 weeks, right? And this whole idea of actually, kind of having this very early access to the game is always very exciting, and it gives you it makes you feel like you're like an insider.
Yeah.
And also in the very beginning, I think that my fourth game that I reviewed was The Outer Worlds, the Spacer's Choice edition. The PS5
I literally
version.
bought that 2 days ago.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. I think it's a great game. It's very funny, and the DLC is also worthwhile. So yeah, check it out.
Amazing, cool. Yeah, so reviewing games, we sort of like tick that off. So let's talk about streaming next. You said that you started at the beginning of this year, really. So when it comes to streaming, what's your sort of schedule? What games do you choose? Is there a certain type, or are you a variety?
Well, it's funny because I started because Sai Netrunner, I know you know him, a good friend on Blue Sky on social media. He reached out to me in late December, and we had been talking about this game called Nine Souls, which is a Metroidvania, very fun, very challenging, a lot of parrying and stuff like that. But he said like, "Have you gotten the game yet?" And I said no. And then he said like, "Give me your PayPal." And I was like, "Oh, no way!" I got so excited. And then I got the game, and he said, "You should stream it." And I felt kind of obligated, but also I had that idea floating in my mind. So I said, let's do it. And to my surprise, I mean, of course, I have like some following on social media, right? I don't like talking too much about this because I don't want to sound full of myself or anything. But so like I started streaming, and like 2 days later, I get the email to become like an affiliate, right?
That's amazing, yeah.
And that was, I felt like so grateful. And to this day, I still do. And usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right now, I'm only doing Tuesdays because my schedule, reviewing games and making videos on YouTube can be a little too much. But yeah, I always stream on Tuesdays, and it's very fun to see new friends, old friends, and random people who just pass by and say something, and they leave. I'm like, well, whatever.
Amazing, cool. Yeah, so definitely go and check out Andres's Twitch, and then Little Victories podcast. We have to talk about this as well. So this is something that's quite new but exciting. So just tell everyone about the podcast.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I wasn't going to mention it because I was like, well, I'm on another podcast. I don't want to promote my stuff. But
after they've listened to this, they need to go listen to that.
Well, you're too kind. Yes. Please listen to all of Ross's episodes. They're very fun. I love them, actually. Yes. So last year, in 2024, for those who don't know me, I was an advocate for this game called Forspoken, which was very negatively received, but I really liked it. Luminous Studio, the guys who made Final Fantasy 15 as well and worked for Square Enix, they made this game, and I got in touch with this developer called Rosa, Jokiaho, she was a developer in the game, and then after like 3 months of emails with Square Enix, I got the chance to interview her last year.
Amazing. Yeah.
So yes, I felt so. Yeah, that was a great opportunity. So after that, it just kept on. In the back of my mind, I just kept on brewing. Like I should keep on doing this. Like I really enjoy talking with developers and creators and luminaries, as I said yesterday, like on a post. These really great people who have these master's degrees and like talk about gaming in such a profound way about storytelling and whatnot. So that's how Little Victories came to be. And I've interviewed 4 developers now. The 4 of them are indie games. They're called, one is Mythwrecked, Harold Halibut. Well, this one is not an indie, Life is Strange Double Exposure, but still I'm a big fan of the Life is Strange series. And Promise Mask Agency. So yeah, I'm very grateful that they answer my DMs and that we get to talk.
Incredible. Yeah. So, people can find that on pretty much anywhere that you stream podcasts, right?
I'm really just sticking right now to Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. And on YouTube, it's like video. As well. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Perfect.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Andres, hang on. Yeah. I've got a question. I didn't prepare you for this. I hope you don't mind me asking. It's a bit personal, but do you believe that aliens exist?
I do, actually. This is something I've been thinking about lately a lot, because I don't know if you've seen on Netflix, they're really pushing a lot of UFO documentaries.
Oh, are they?
And I live in the northeastern part of Mexico, and there's a coast close to here that they say that there's an alien base there, because when there's a hurricane arriving to that specific area, it always dissipates and nothing happens there.
What?
So it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's a kind of weird phenomenon that happens
barrier
there.
Or force field around it. It's got to be aliens, right?
Yes, that's what everyone says. So yes, I do believe in aliens.
So and you know where they are. So, with these aliens, what do you think they might look like? Do you have any ideas?
Wow, oh my god! Because I do love alien, films and all of that, but I mean, they could look like Alien, the crazy guy from the Alien movies,
the xenomorph,
from H.R. Geiger's, from H.R. Geiger, or. They could look cute or something, or they could look like us. I don't know.
It's a hard question to answer when you haven't seen them, but yeah. And then what do you like? I'm just trying to delve deeper into your thinking and your beliefs. Do you have any ideas what their planets might be like? Do you imagine it like Earth, or do you imagine it more sort of like fire or lava or ice? Any ideas?
I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, as an RPG fan, and we mentioned the Outer Wilds, I think the Outer World. Sorry, I always confuse the two. But I'm pretty sure life can thrive in every area, even if it's a little bit inhospitable. So I'd be really excited to see what ecosystem they live in.
Well, Andres, I can tell you that aliens are real. And you're right. It is that part of Mexico on the coast. That's where that's where they always land when they come and visit. It's they just really like it. Man. It's free parking, and they just go, we're used to that. We'll always go there. But they're real, and not only are they real, but they've just abducted you. How do you feel?
Oh my gosh, I knew it since I woke up today that there was something. There was something strange going on. Yes, I couldn't put it out.
Is it? Yeah, it's that. So let me tell you why you've been abducted, okay? So these aliens that have taken you, they're very much like us, okay? So they're friendly, they look like us, their planet, just like Earth, okay? But there is one big difference. They do not have video games, and they have never heard them or played them.
Wow.
Now, these aliens, at the moment, it's really cold on their planet. It's winter across the whole thing. And what they like to do when it's cold is they like to come to Earth, and they vacation here so they can soak up some of our sun instead of their own. And whilst they're here on holiday at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, they noticed a group of people chatting about video games, and they thought, What are video games? We want to know more about these video games things. So they decided the best way to learn about them is finding someone with a proper love for everything video game related. Someone that writes about them, someone that streams them, someone that has a podcast about them. And they decided to abduct you. Oh, and they also wanted a DJ. So that's ticked off now.
So they wanted the whole package. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted the whole package. So they were like, yeah, plays, we'll get him. So they've abducted you, and they're going to ask you a series of questions all about the video games that mean the most to you. And the very first question they want to know is, what is the first video game you remember playing?
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking like, as long as they don't like probe me or something, we're good.
Not yet.
What? No. Well, I love this question because it really brings me back. I think a friend of the show, Retro Blast Patrick. I think I love the way that he evokes or entices people to always play retro games, because it really brings you back to to your childhood, right? To our childhood. So I think Pokemon Red. I was a kid from the 90s. My handle is as creative as I am, AndresPlays 93. So I was a kid from the 90s, and I remember having my Game Boy, having this huge blog with 4 AA batteries, and that it didn't have like a lights in the back. So I remember sometimes we would travel a lot, here in Mexico, and I would remember being in the car and being at night just waiting for the streetlights to pass by, to see what the hell what I was doing. So it's a beautiful memory, because the art style, and of course I don't know, Charmander and Pikachu and Squirtle, all of those guys. Like I have a huge love for them, even though I don't really like play them as much nowadays.
No, fair enough. Yeah. So with your Game Boy, did you ever get that expansion where it added the light on so that you could see it in the cars? Did you ever end up getting that?
I think I did. I was a very spoiled kid. Yes, I was like this. I was short. I was this little fat nerdy kid. Yeah. I did get like that backlight, like that you and it was not easy to adapt, right? Like it was just like,
you might as well have just had a head torch. Like,
actually, that is a brilliant idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but like it was just a quick fix. But you're a kid, and you're like, whatever it takes to play my game.
Exactly. I don't have to rely on the street lights anymore. I've got my own light. And Pokemon, that's a brilliant first game. So Pokemon Red is the one that you had, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember what your first choice was between the three? Who did you go for?
Oh my God. I think it was Charmander, because I have this, or what, because you remember like the pixel art, like when you're fighting, you can just see like their cute bald head, like just there right on the left corner. I think it was either Squirtle or Charmander, because they both looked like that, just like this ball on the corner, which was very fun. And I have a clear memory of that. So it was probably either of them. I like Bulbasaur. No hate for the Bulbasaur lovers here, but
it's a really hard choice, because all three of those are amazing first choice. Like, I feel like the later Pokemon games, it's quite easy to go, all right, that one's objectively probably the best one out of the three. But the Generation 1, like, all three of them are incredible choices. I think I would go Charmander though. I've got a bit of love for Charmander. He's good Pokemon.
It's so crazy, because like I love Squirtle. I love Squirtle with all my heart, but then I don't like Blastoise. And then Charizard, I mean, he's like the coolest ever, right? So that's
sometimes it is. You have to look at the long run, right? Who's going to be there throughout the life? Pokemon's incredible. I know we talked about the starters there. Do you have a specific favorite Pokemon that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh my god, of all time, I don't know, like, but like the only one that comes to mind right now is the CDY. Is
Right.
one of the newer ones.
Okay.
I think he looks pretty cool. He has like glasses and has like he's like a bird, but like the his feathers look like a cape. He looks really cool, actually. Like,
Okay, cool. I don't know that one. My Pokemon knowledge is quite limited, I must admit, but that's fair.
yeah, there are too many. I don't
There's
blame you.
so
There are
many
too many.
Pokemon. There's so many. Like this. How do they keep finding new ones as well? Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you said that you don't. So you had a love for Pokemon, like Pokemon Red. How many of the other ones did you play? Like you said that you're not really into the newer ones, but do you remember like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did buy Scarlet, but then I saw, how it ran on the Switch, and I said I'm just gonna sell it. Like I didn't, I
Oh,
didn't really play it. Yeah, I was
yeah.
like, I mean, because once you play like, and this is not a dig for the people who enjoyed it. Is you play games like on a PS5 with more advanced graphics or whatnot, and then like you go back, and
It's
the
hard, yeah.
mechanics like Persona, which are like so snappy and so like the battles can go so much quicker, and
Yeah.
then you go back to Pokemon and it's like attack and then boop and then
It's
attack, and it's like
it's like
really
my first RPG, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes my first turn-based
yeah,
RPG.
baby's
Yeah,
first RPG.
yeah, which is fine when it was your first. But yeah, I know what you mean. Going back can be a little bit difficult. But yeah, no, great answer,
Yeah.
Pokemon. Love it. What game made you cry the most? Do you cry at games a lot, Andres?
I sometimes I am a sensible guy. Like not often. I already have a game that I cried this year.
Mm.
Just one. I don't cry like at every ending. But I think that the one that made me, tear up the most, I think it was Harold Halibut. For those who
Okay.
know me, know that I've championed that game, and as I said in the
Mm.
beginning of the podcast, I was able to interview the lead writer about for that game, and it's Harold Halibut. I believe Siggy, also a friend of the show, has played it, and she
Yeah,
really
yeah,
liked it
she
as well,
has.
which
Yeah.
I loved.
Mm.
Because it's just so heartfelt. It's a narrative adventure. You're like a guy, like a janitor called Harold,
Mm.
and you're like stranded in a spaceship in a far off planet, and then you find aliens actually,
Oh
and
wow,
then
perfect.
yeah, it all comes full circle. But yeah, the dialogues are very funny. I asked the developer, the writer, if he had been influenced by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he was, which that is a movie and book that I love. I love the comedy there, and more than anything, there's like a very raw level of vulnerability. Like this guy Harold, he's like pretty much alone in the world, and then like he
Yeah.
finds someone to connect with, and it's a story about friendship. And I think that indie games like are the games that allow you to do that, like
Mm.
to do these off the beaten path stories that are that really show like everything about the human experience, warts and all. And I think that's not something that you see really often in other types of games.
Amazing. Yeah, I completely agree. Indie games are great for you, as you say, exploring different avenues. Yeah, I've not played Harold Halibut yet. I will get round to it at some point. But one thing that always strikes me when I ever see clips of it and that is how beautiful the art style is. Like
Oh
it's so
yes.
different. So yeah, it's fantastic. But for me, who has only really seen a few video clips, what sort of style game would you say it is? Like, what's the gameplay mechanics like? Is it a fighting game? Is
Yeah,
it a exploration game?
somebody described it as a point and click adventure.
Right.
That while I played it on PS5, and I didn't like. Yeah, I moved with the controller, not with a click. To move him around. But I think it's just a very narrative experience. You just go to different levels of the ship, talk with people, do some side quests. There's some little things that you can do, like there's like an arcade and you can play a game that's kind of like Star Fox 64 actually.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's just like little detours from the like. I think that the reward of the game itself is the conversations, how things develop over the course of each chapter. there's a mystery, and there's it all unfolds slowly, but it's a very slow burn.
Yeah.
So you really have to be in the mood for it. Like, I wholeheartedly recommend it if anybody has is in the mood for like a really heartfelt, vulnerable story. But then also, like you said, of course, the art style. I can't not mention the art style, because it's all made with clay, I think, and
Yeah.
it's a stop motion. And they made all of these characters in real life, and then they put them through a machine, and then they made all these dioramas, and then they adapted it to a video game to make it feel like it really does feel like you are playing a stop motion movie, which
Amazing.
is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it's worthwhile.
Perfect. So one more thing on this game before we move on.
Of course.
You say it's heartfelt. So would you say it made you cry, but it wasn't necessarily sad tears?
Yeah, no, I think the game is very funny throughout. Of course, there's some like sad, poignant moments throughout the game, but I think that the ending, I only cried at the ending. I didn't cry like the whole 15 hours that I played it. Like, I just saw the ending, which of course I won't spoil, but Harold makes a choice, and I was like, oh my god, like
Amazing.
that is so like. So real of you, Harold, for doing that.
Shout out, Harold. So real. I'll have to play it. I need to know what this choice is now, and why we're shouting out to Harold. So yeah, perfect answer.
Yeah.
What is a game you didn't think you'd like, but you ended up loving it?
Oh, this is great. I streamed it actually recently, and I played it for the first time. I think, and you talked about this with Gamer Station, which of course, another great content creator, Hades. You talked about roguelikes,
yes.
and I myself have just discovered roguelikes recently. I think Hades. Of course, as a video game reviewer, even though I started in 2023, I've always try to expand, my horizons and try new things. But then again, I never really, I never really gave roguelikes a chance. I think Beyond, I did play Returnal in 2021, but like, I think that was just like a one-off. I didn't really play any other one of those games. But then, my friend said, like, how have you not played Hades? It's a masterpiece and whatnot, right? So I did, and it was crazy because within the first 2 hours, of course, I have to say that the people that were cheering me on and guiding me were the ones who made it happen. But like within the first 2 hours, I reached not the final boss, but like the final stage of the game, right? Which is something that shouldn't happen. Because you like the thing with roguelikes is that you get better slowly. You're
supposed to die quite early on. You got those gamer skills, man.
To die a lot. But the thing is that there's these things called boons, abilities, right? That I remember I was, they'd give me these boons, and my friends were like, choose this one, and then this one will be paired with this other one, and then you will do more damage or whatever. So I think that. Maybe I'm not that bad at games. Like, I'm not like I mean, you had Samantha Teapot, which much respect to her challenges, but I'm not like that. I just try. Like, I try my best. And I think it just like there's an excitement to stream, to do something live, and to try to prove yourself, to not mess things up. I think there's a challenge there. Like, I'm a quote unquote real gamer, right? So I don't want to like die every time. I want to like achieve something. So Hades proved to me that roguelikes are absolutely amazing, and I've of course played Balatro, Enter the Gungeon, and some others, right? That I'm not going to name all of them, but yes, Hades is definitely, the repetitiveness of the whole thing is what made me be a little wary. But in the end, I ended up loving it, of course. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, you're right. It's roguelikes are one of those genres I think you can't understand and you can't comprehend until you find the one. like that one game and it goes, okay, I get it now. I get why people like this. And Hades, that was the same one for me. Like that was the first roguelike that I played. Beforehand, I was like, I think I tried a few others. I can't really remember. I think Binding of Isaac, I might have played, and
Oh yeah.
I just didn't really get it, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like start over every time. But there's something about Hades because I think it had been praised, and also I like Greek mythology and stuff. I was like, no, I'll give it a go, and it just clicked. And it's such a great game, and it's such a great feeling when you sort of like go through the levels. Like I didn't get as far as you. I died pretty quick, but but when you sort of start building it and you start learning, it's an incredible feeling. And like, let's just talk about Hades itself. I mean, the art style is incredible. I love the story. And that first time that you sort of, well, you beat Hades, that's not a spoiler, I don't think. Like, and getting past that stage and realizing that you've only just begun is it's mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, oh my God, I remember it's so crazy. I think that the VOD for my Twitch stream of that video of my Hades stream is not available any longer. But I remember I felt so defeated this one time. I had been streaming for about 5 hours, and I got to the final boss, right? I got to, Hades, and I was like this close to beating him. But then, I'm very thankful that I felt very deflated, but my friends on chat said he has a second phase. Like, don't. Yeah. Okay, that's a spoiler. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
And they told me that, and that made me feel like, okay, well, I mean, I was gonna die either way, right? So that made me feel like, let me just put it off for a moment, bring back and come back another day refreshed, and let's do it again. And I think that that mindset of the roguelikes is imbued into every aspect of the game, right? Like, keep going, keep trying, you'll get better. And specifically about Hades, the as I said, the boons and I don't know, the voice acting, the art design, everything is just so concise, so coherent with each other. It just, I mean, I would understand if somebody says it's like that it's their favorite game of all time, right? It
absolutely.
Can be.
One of my favorite things as well is like looking back when you finish the game and you look back and you go, I struggled so much at the beginning, and now I'm melting bosses in like 30 seconds because I know exactly what to do. Like it's just a great like way of looking back over a game and going, wow, like I have learned and I have changed and I am better.
Yes. I think that's like the I suppose addictive aspect of roguelikes as a whole. Trying to grasp what the game is, what it's trying you to do, and eventually mastering it. Like that's it's very rewarding. Absolutely.
Yeah. Perfect. What a great answer, Hades. Such a good game. What game is terrible but you love it anyway? So it might be critically panned or other people don't like it, but you're like, nope, this is a good game.
Yes, I love all these questions, I have to say. And this, I had to make sure, so I Googled it yesterday, and it's true. I feel very sad about it, but the game is Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns. Right. I played it, I think it was 20. I had a PS3, like I still had my PS3 like long into the PS4 generation. I think it was 2016, 17 that I played it.
Okay.
In its entirety, and I wasn't online, I mean, I did have like a Facebook or whatever, but like I didn't have this whole gaming community as I do now, so I was completely unaware of how it was received. And it does have a 66 on Metacritic, critically panned, so I was quite surprised because I really loved my time with it. There is a time mechanic, right, like Majora's Mask, which can be a little annoying, and there's like a spell that you can do to like stop time, so it's annoying to like have to use that spell every time to explore every dungeon and to like do every side quest and not be pressured by that clock that's like in the middle of the game, always pressuring you to like do things. So
Yeah.
I could understand if people didn't vibe with that, but I think that Lightning as a character is cool as hell. She's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. The game, like, you have 7 days to go to every dungeon and defeat every boss and then defeat the final boss, which is one of those bombastic blockbuster climactic battles, classic JRPG 1 hour battles that they don't do that as often anymore, which I am kind of grateful for, because being glued to screen for an hour, like, if you just mess up one potion or whatever, it's done.
You got to start from the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, so I like that, developers used to do that, and I'm sure there's still a lot of games that do that nowadays.
Yeah.
Probably Expedition 33 is very good at that as well, with the pairing and all of that. So I don't know. I was, as I said, disconnected from social media, so I really liked it, and I thought that it did well, but apparently it was the one that sold the worst of the 13 trilogy.
Yeah.
So I was very taken aback by that knowledge. And I love it. I think it's a good game. Sadly, I cannot like wholeheartedly recommend it right now because it's not available on modern consoles. So Square Enix, please,
yeah. Let people try it again. They were wrong. Andres is telling you it's good. It's incredible how sometimes when you're offline or you don't have people in your ear telling you, like, you're not looking at reviews, how a game can be so much different. Like, if someone tells you a game's a 5 out of 10 and then you play it, you're like, sometimes you can be a little bit suggestible and go, okay, it's a 5 out of 10, like, I accept it. But like, when no one tells you that, you just go, oh, this game's pretty cool. Like, it's strange how we work sometimes, and I think, like, sometimes it'd be nice if we just made our own just like thoughts and stuff. So it's nice to hear your story behind that. I've not played any of the Final Fantasy 13. So have you played? You said it's part of a trilogy. Have you played the other like parts of that?
Just piggybacking off of what you said, it's true. Like, I think we are all, even though we are hard-headed, I think we are all in some way suggestible. So even though, most recently, like, I love Dragon Age the Veilguard, but there was like a hate campaign against it, right? So a part of me was like, am I enjoying it so much? Like, is something wrong with me or whatever? But no, sometimes you just gotta like make up your own mind.
Absolutely.
And about this game, I'll be completely honest. I did buy 13. I remember I was at a shopping mall, and there was a game store there, and it had all of these marketing stuff for 13. And I've always had a soft spot for Final Fantasy as a series. And I think 10. I think I had played 10 by then. I hadn't played any of the previous ones, maybe one or two. I like the classic pixel art games, right? But I didn't finish 13. I didn't really vibe with it. I think a lot of people didn't like it, and I understand why. It's just a bunch of corridors, and the combat is not that it's not that exciting, to be honest. But 13.2 and 13 Lightning Returns have more exciting mechanics, more like active turn-based combat. You can kind of change some stuff on the move while you're fighting. So I think that I understand why it went that way. The people who tried 13 were like, nah, I'm out. I'm not going to try the other ones because I didn't like this one. I get it. But funnily enough, they got better with time, right? But sadly, people didn't give them a chance. So
people
that's the
were
problem.
out. They clocked out. Yeah, can be a danger sometimes. Perfect.
Yeah.
What games scared you the most? Do you get scared at games a lot, Andres?
I am a scaredy cat. I recently played on stream this game called Moving Houses. It's like the game itself is not that scary, but I was scared, right?
Right.
But to answer your question, this is like, I still have the video up there. I'll probably share it with you later if you want to have a laugh.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a PSVR 2, as I mentioned, that I cover VR. And Phasmophobia, for those who don't know, Phasmophobia is a game where you are like a ghost hunter. You go to houses to look for, phenomena, like try to find if there's a ghost in that house, right? And you do that kind of like with several items and tools that you have. And they just recently adapted a PSVR 2 version last October. So I played it. I was reviewing it, right, for an outlet, Upload VR, and I played with some friends. And the game has been available since 2020 in early access on Steam, but I did not know like that much about the game. I knew like the basics, but a friend told me that you cannot die. Like you're fine. You cannot die. You're just a ghost hunter. It's just like this type of game. You don't die. You just like look for clues if there's a ghost or not. And I said like, well, okay, I'm not scared. It's fine. Like you enter the house with other people. It was kind of funny the way every character moved. But then, for those who know what happened next. I think it has like this proximity chat that you have this sort of sanity level that if you scream or if you breathe too much or if you sound nervous in your mic, you lose sanity. So I was the one who lost, of course, their sanity the quickest.
Yeah.
And the fact is that you can die in that goddamn game. You can die. And the way that you die is that, like, for those who don't know, like when you put on the PSVR 2 goggles, when you die, the ghost grabs you from the corner of your eyes and then just like kills you right then and there. Right. So it was a very, very nerve-wracking experience. I yelled. I remember I was very scared. I even took the goggles off. I was like, what the hell? Nope. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Yes. And of course, when I, was able to put on the headset again, everybody was laughing at me, right? The other guys were like, oops, we forgot to tell you that you could die.
Can die. Are you still talking to these friends or are they ex-friends now?
No, I blocked them. No, I'm joking. No, we had a great laugh about that later. Like it was like, I laughed after, but at the moment I was like, what are these hands? Because it's if you played VR, you know how intense it is to feel like some hands grabbing you from the back of your head. I was not expecting that at all. I think.
Just going on to VR, like you said there, I think unless you've tried VR, you don't understand the sort of like depth of it. Like the first time you put it on and you go, oh, you're actually in that space. So absolutely fuck that to Phasmophobia. Like I would be crying. Have you played it just the 2D version since? Is that your like? I have. Is that your preferred method of playing it from now on?
Yes, that's like I can try it again. Because that first impression. I'm never gonna have it again. But I'm sure I could still, yell or be surprised by those horrible ghost hands, creeping up on me again. Like I can try not to be as scared. But I think that I'd rather prefer the flat screen version for sure.
Yeah, it feels just a tiny bit safer, definitely.
Yes.
Andres, what game means the most to you? So it doesn't have to be your favorite game, but the memories around playing it make it really special.
There's this game called Season, A Letter to the Future. It's an indie game. It was the second game that I reviewed when I started reviewing games. And it's a beautiful game. Like you're a woman who is kind of like documenting the end of the world, going to several regions and talking to people. And like, you hear about their goals and their regrets. And it's very touching. It's a very touching game. But other than that, I fell in love with it. And all throughout 2023, I kept on, championing it and sharing it and promoting it whenever I could. Whenever I remember that game, I was like, hey, play Season, A Letter to the Future. And then, the developers reached out to me. I think that at the tail end of 2023, and they said like, we want to gift you the soundtrack, the vinyl soundtrack of the game, and like I couldn't believe it, man. They all the way from Canada, they sent it over to Mexico, and I had to buy like a vinyl player for that, which I loved. I became a vinyl collector actually after that. But yeah, like I think that that first year I grinded a lot, man. I think I wrote about 40 reviews that first year. I slowed down a little bit with the coming years. I was a bit pickier with the games that I wanted to review. But I think that like when the soundtrack, when the vinyl arrived, it just, because we're online, right? And this felt finally tangible, finally
Yeah.
real, like
Hmm.
the fruit of my efforts, is here. Like I can feel it. Like
Yeah.
it's the reward is here. Like and that made me tear up a little bit. So yeah, I have a lot of love for that game,
Amazing.
definitely.
Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful story. Like I love that. Like all that hard work paying off. Like you feel like you've finally been seen, which is a really nice feeling. So what about it? What about that game? Like, do you love so much that made you champion it? What specifically made you go, no, this is a game that I want to talk about a lot?
I think that when you go back, I don't know. I had played Journey. I had played some other indie games in the past, but even Journey, it's just more aesthetic and vibes than a heartfelt story.
Yeah.
And Season talks, as I said, about the end times, but in a very gentle way, not like a panicky sort
Yeah.
of experience. And you have like a camera, you can record sounds, and you can put it all in an album and just like be like the gameplay is very chill. Like you have your bike, and then you just cycle all across this beautiful landscape, just a bunch of mountains and waterfalls and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And there's some gameplay to it as well. There's like a few like light puzzles, but I think that the soundtrack as well itself is very like it's very hard hitting. Like it uses a lot of wind instruments, and it's very evocative, I would say. I think that whole package that I've been trying to describe is what made me just really like it.
Love it. Perfect. Now, Andres, what video game character do you have a crush on? Oh, the juicy stuff.
Oh my god, I was gonna be quite direct and just say like Shadowheart, because when I was playing BG3, Baldur's Gate 3, that was the character that that
Romanced,
my
yeah.
character romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then last year I went back again to do a Dark Urge run, which is a Nivel run basically. And Minthara which is a character that a lot of people probably didn't even get to know, because to add her to your party, you have to do some really questionable evil stuff, and more so to romance her. So her voice is so seductive and her demeanor is so powerful, right? Like she has a
Yeah.
very commanding presence. So I remember I was playing with a friend, Noni. We're playing co-op this Dark Horse run. So sometimes like there was several scenes where I was like, whoa, like this, like I've never met a character like her before in my life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's insane because BG3 is massive, but if you know something about the fandom, is that they're very rabid fans, and they've been actually clamoring. I don't think it's going to happen any longer, but they've been clamoring for more Minthara content, because
Right.
she is, of course, you got Astarion and Shadowheart and Lae'zel and all of those other characters, but I think she is kind of like left a little bit, like they just give crumbs for her character, which is a little sad, because I think she's a great character, and I don't know, man, she makes me nervous. Is what I'm saying. Like,
She makes your heartbeat fast. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes not so much. Just so I'm on the right page, she's the one that has Will under contract, right? Is that Minthara?
no, that is oh my god, I can't remember her name, but no, Minthara is you find her with the goblins in Act 1, and her
yes.
skin is kind of bluish.
Yes.
but yeah, she doesn't have wings. But I could understand because both the demon that has the contract with Will also has that kind of skin color.
Yeah.
I get it. but no, yeah, like sadly, I'm sure like I don't know, like 70 or 80% of BG3 players probably like don't even register her, which is so
Yes.
sad to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, as you say, that game's massive. Like, yeah, you could spend your whole life exploring it, and you still probably wouldn't see every single outcome. So, yeah, great
yeah.
game. Great game. What game have you replayed the most?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, going in that same vibe. Dragon Age Origins. I think that I don't replay games often.
Yeah.
I really don't. But throughout the years, I played Dragon Age Origins on the PS3, then on my PC years later, and then on my PC years later again. And each time I did it. I created a different character. And Dragon Age Origins is a game that you can choose 6 different beginnings, right, for your
Yeah.
character, and each has like an introduction, a very a meaty introduction. There's a bunch of like politics and like the introduction to the world and to the world building is just great. And of course, you can the dialogue will let you choose different things based on your background, if you're a dwarf, if you're an elf or a human or whatever. So I think that it's and of course the big choices, right? If you ally with the werewolves or with these characters. So I think that it's one of those games that I like. I'm not gonna say like I can't get enough of, but like if I'm like on a rut and I don't know what to play, I'm like whatever, sure, I'll replay Dragon Age Origins. Like
yeah, we all need those games. So there's 6 you said that you can start off as. Have you done 3 then? You said you've done 3 playthroughs, or have you?
Yes, yeah, because like 2. There are like out of the 6 introductions, 2 of them are for each race. So like dwarf and elf and human. I believe. Right. I haven't replayed it in a while, so hopefully they don't crucify me for this. But yes, I believe like you can be like if you're a dwarf, for example, you can be like a dwarf from the royalty or a commoner, right?
Okay,
and it has like, and they both have their own storylines, which is crazy, right? But yeah, it's like not as massive as VG3, of course, but it's still a great game on its own right.
Amazing. We don't like to be too negative on the podcast, but what's the worst game you've ever played?
Oh my god, I have a gripe to pick with this game. Like this is a Genshin Impact, man. Just recently they added a new update with a character that I kind of wanted, and I had been saving up some of the currency to pull for her, and I have never ever been good at that game. Like I've never gotten lucky at that game. I mean, because there's people on Twitter that are like, oh, I got this 5-star character 4 times, in one pool, and that has never ever happened to me. So I hate that game, and I hate all of the clones that it has spawned as well.
Yeah,
a lot of gacha games spawned because of Genshin Impact success. So yes.
So that one, yeah, I've not played it. It's like I know of it. So what do you actually do in that game? So is it just you just collect things, you fight at all?
Yeah, it's just an open world, very inspired by Breath of the Wild. You got a stamina wheel, and you just explore the world and fight. It could be considered fun, but there's like so much better games. And once you see that it's all, made for you to spend money eventually, is when you say like, oh no, yeah, I'm out. Like,
yeah, that's my biggest gripe with like mobile games like that is, they just want your money. That's ultimately. It doesn't matter how good the game is. It doesn't matter how invested you are in the story. You're gonna pay them something. It's free to play for a bit, and then it's gonna cost you.
Oh yeah. Like you're gonna pay some way, like either with hundreds of hours, or I remember some like this one time I said, okay, whatever, I'll pay $50, $50 to get this character, and then the game is like, I want more, and then I said, no, I don't want to give you more.
You've had enough. Leave me alone. But, so and then so why do you collect characters? So do you get to choose who you play as, or is it like you build an
Oh,
army? I don't know. Yeah.
oh yeah, all of these characters, have their own abilities, and the way some of them move can be different. Like there's some
Right.
characters that like have like a motorbike or like or that are like surfing around a surfing board. Like it's kind of crazy. Like that they really, of course, the characters designs as well are what entice most people. But like I'm glad to say that I'm out of the rat race, man. Like I
Yeah, I'm glad you're out too. No one needs that. Yeah, that's not one I'll be playing. Don't worry. Do not worry at all.
I'm so glad to hear that.
What is objectively the best video game ever? So again, it might not be your personal favorite, but if there was a museum all about video games, this would be at the forefront. They'd be like, this is what a video game is.
Yeah, this question is so deep. I've been thinking a lot about it, actually, and of course, you could ask me this in a week, in a month, in a
Yeah.
year, and I will have a different answer. But like right now, today when I woke up, I listened to the soundtrack and I felt it in my heart, and I think that I'm gonna keep on feeling it because the soundtrack is made by C418, the guy who also made the soundtrack for Minecraft, funnily enough. But the game is called Wonderstop. It just came out this year. It's a game about burnouts
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and the tea, which I think you love tea on this podcast, right?
I've had a few people that like tea on this podcast. Yeah. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I love that.
yeah. I've not heard of this game. So tell me what makes it objectively the greatest.
I mean, of course, everything is subjective, right?
Yeah.
And I say the greatest for me because it arrived at a point in my life. As I said, this year I started, launching my YouTube channel, my podcast, and my streams. And in the very beginning, for the first 3 months this year, I had like 1 or 2 videos a week up, streaming 3 days while juggling my 40-hour work week. So that game arrived at a very important point in my life where I was starting to feel the symptoms of burnout, which is, I would stare at turn on my PS5, stare at a screen, and then not want to play anything, man. And that made me scared. Like, honestly, it did. Now that I think about it, like, I got a little emotional. But the thing is, that made me scared. And then this game comes along, and it's about like a warrior called Alta, who trains all her life to become like the best warrior who's ever been seen in this fantasy land. But then she starts losing battles because she pushed herself to the edge of her limit, and she finally finds herself in a meadow, and she finds this big burly gentleman called Boro who runs a tea shop called Wonderstop. And the game is basically like a farming sim or a cozy game in a way.
Yeah.
But the conversations that are had in that game about burnout, about not, because she's like, I just want to recover and get back on the field. And the game is like, there's no one way to just recover and be 100% back again. Like it's an ongoing recovery thing, and that hit me so damn hard, man. Like, and I did tear up at the credits. As I said, I don't cry that often with games, but when I do, it's because like I really connected with them.
Really
So yeah, I
resonates,
think that yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll have to look out for that one and definitely give it a play because it sounds pretty good. Andres, you have been an incredible guest, and the aliens are very happy. They've learned all about video games, but before they put you back down onto Earth, they want you to give them one video game. This video game they're going to take back all the way to their planet, and they're going to share it around, and everyone is going to play this video game as their first ever video game. Which one are you giving them?
I love this question. I think it's the best. I mean, all of them are great, but yeah, I think this is a great way to end the chat. I think you can, accuse me of recency bias, but I think another game that I played recently that I very much loved and will keep on championing is called Promise Mascot Agency. It's made by a UK studio actually called Kaizen Gameworks. And the game is basically, the Japanese mascots like Chitan or
Yes,
these
yeah.
like that they promote like culture and stuff like that. So in this game, these mascots are real, right? Like you're in Japan in the 90s, and like you're a Yakuza who is like exiled to this like city, small town. And it's, why would I give this game to the aliens? Because I think that it has everything. It has, it's a collectathon. It has a great story. And like all of the characters, like, because you create, like, you have an agency of mascots, right? And they go on jobs, but they also have, like, what's the funny thing is, like, all of these mascots, which all are very weird and funny and quirky, they all have their own lives. They have debts, they have like fights with their partner. It's just such a weird game. Like some critics described it as like a game for sickos, and I was like, well, what does that make me? Like, what am I?
I love it.
So yeah, I think that my God, I think that you drive around in a truck, collecting stuff for your agency and connecting with people in the small town, and I think that it's a very unique game that can reflect the best of video games, which is like, I couldn't put it down because a part of us, well, I mean, for me at least, sometimes I'm not a completionist, but sometimes you just want to collect everything in a map, right?
Definitely.
So I was riding around in this little truck, and I also, wanted to connect with all of the characters because they were all very interesting. And the kicker, the best part of it is that the ex-Yakuza that you're playing as is voiced by Takaya Kuroda, which is the voice of Kiryu Kazuma, right, from the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
So, like, you hear his voice, his sultry voice, and you're like, oh, hell yeah, brother. Like,
I'm glad I'm playing this, yeah. Amazing. Perfect answer for the aliens. I'm sure they will enjoy it. Andres, you've been incredible. Before we go, how can people find you? So what's your Twitch? How do we find your podcast? How do we find your reviews? All of it.
Of course, yes. And thank you so much for having me. Like, as I said, I'm a fan of the show, and I can listen as to how much fun you're having with other guests. I was like, I'm excited to actually be a part of this. So thank you for inviting me. You can find me as I said, on Blue Sky, AndresPlays, Blue Sky, that social, on Twitch and on YouTube as /AndresPlays93. Yes, and of course my Little Victories podcast, where I interview game developers, which I love.
Amazing. Cool.
But I really do love this conversation as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. We'll put links to everything in the episode information, so do check that out before you finish listening. But yeah, it's time to put you back down to earth, my friend.
Woo!
Goodbye.
Bye.
So that was episode 8 of Games for the Galaxy. Massive thanks to Andres. You can find his link tree in the episode information with all the ways to find things like his podcast and Twitch channel and his reviews. If you enjoyed this episode, why not check out previous episodes? There's a great backlog now, so catch up and hear more about awesome people talking about awesome video games. Massive thank you to you for listening. I know I say it every episode, but you make this whole thing worth it, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Even you, Brian. I don't know if any Brians actually listen to this, but that will really speak to them if they do. Time to go now, but not without saying the magic word. Games. Bye!